So I wanted to chat to you about a number of things. So you're an expert in video technology for creative applications. And I wondered, what are the misconceptions? What do people not really understand about using video technology when you're talking to them in the course of your work?
I think there are many answers to this question, but the first one that comes to mind is that a perfect technological solution can be creative for any creative application. And so often what I come into are spaces where a engineering concept has been designed, if not purchased and implemented, by the time the creatives are invited to the discussion. And so you have a creative team that's already boxed in to a technical approach that may impact or limit their thinking. So what I advocate for is finding a way to process not the exact creative that's going to be done, but creative thinking while you're building out your technological solutions. And I think the opposite is true too. I don't think you can talk about creative without having a technological thinker in that space. So my hot take in this is don't build your technology without a creative. Don't build your creative without a technical thinker in those spaces. We need to be, those alternate sounding boards or opposing sounding boards need to be present.
We've seen that in other fields that you do need to bring the creative person in. Don't often decisions are taken so early on that limit what you can do with the technology. And I think what's interesting about your answer is you're saying that works the other way too. Bring the engineering people in early to the discussion of the creative side of things. Looking at your career, you seem to have done a lot of interesting things. You've had a long career in this field. You've written some textbooks, but you've now got a new venture.
Yes.
What is that venture, and why have you decided to go in this direction?
I've spent the last several years listening to the entertainment technology community, specifically those video technologists that work in front of live audience. And in listening to their pain points and how they were learning from each other, I realized that there was an opportunity to take that voice into architectural installation. So the motivation for founding Integration Technology Advisors, which is my shingle for my technical producing and technical direction consulting work, is to think about that holistic approach from a left and right brain perspective of trying to get at some of these large architectural installs as early in the conversation as possible to, I would say, disrupt very siloed thinking around the creative process and around the technology process.
So in a way, that what you're trying to do builds on the answer that you were telling us before. That there is this justice problem that people are not talking to each other early enough in the process. Does this build on some of your expertise that you already have? What were you doing? What were you doing before launching this firm, and what are you bringing to it?
It does, because I guess in some way you could look at my career path as being a professional listener to solve problems effectively. So in my career prior to ITA, I was a multi-camera screens producer. So I would lead a team to go into an award show production. And I saw the arc from the introduction of LED screens into these live entertainment design spaces through to them taking over scenic design in general. I can't think of a multi-camera broadcast live event that doesn't have LED or projection. Over half the stage is built out of these products. So I had to build a team, and this is what the first textbook is about, that could respond rapidly to multiple creatives having to deliver to this clearly structured and defined space and give them as much creative freedom as possible. So I did a lot of listening and a lot of educating myself, because I have to take that creative language under high pressure and take action on it in a way that an operations team can execute quickly, because you're talking about a 2-hour event sometimes with maybe 2.5 days of production time to build all the looks, make sure the screens look their best on camera, And we have to work very rapidly. So that meant a lot of preparatory work and a lot of learning how to communicate effectively and quickly, because you see the other side of what happens. I can document this entire creative technology environment for a content team. If I inundate them with information, it's like I've turned off all communication because they'll ignore it. I have to find the most concise and supportive way to communicate how they achieve their goals. Or I've lost that trust, and I lose my ability to support those teams coming into these spaces. So that learning environment, because I started on media servers in general. In fact, my early career, I was a lighting programmer. So I moved through all of this technology development through the media server uh, invention and development to what it is now. So going back to early 2000s. And so I think over that time, I've learned how to communicate effectively and listen well to the needs of multiple stakeholders and being successful and finding that convergence point where they can all achieve their goals.
Well, I'm very honoured to be talking to someone, who's written 2 books and had this. You've worked with some amazing people that we haven't mentioned, like David Bowie and Madonna and big TV shows. Um, but you're also the founder of a community and the executive director of a community. Can you tell us about that community, why you set it up, and what you're trying to do with it?
Absolutely. Framework is our community organization, and I see it as the early stages of a growing professional society for video entertainment technologists. And there was a group of us that founded this. We started talking about it 2018, 2019. So it was myself, Luke Malcolm, Soren West, and Elliot Dunwoody had a meeting in I think early 2019, where we agreed, like, this is the moment, we are building this. Our intent is to gather together these I would say the community that existed around media servers and content creation for live events. How do we get this group together in a room and talk about establishing best practices, learning from each other in the different spaces we work in, taking someone who works in theatrical design using video and bring them in a room together with the people building rock tours or corporate events or art installations, so that we can excite each other about the ways we solve problems and use the tools that are represented in this trade show.
What's interesting is that you've launched this community in 2018 and 19, but since then we've had such dramatic changes, COVID, and then the rise of virtual production. What's it been like developing a community in the middle of such rapid change?
Well, first of all, our planned conference for the fall of 2020
Didn't happen.
went virtual. We were able to, in fact, it was kind of wonderful because I was able to connect with presenters who otherwise never would have been able to attend a conference. And we're able to provide very rich presentations that we delivered in a virtual format and now exist on our website and our YouTube channel. So for us, it was almost this incredible moment to capture what was happening, support the community, and give them an outlet, and understand there was an organization that was community first, technology second, or tools second. So in that process, what it allowed us to do was actually expand our mission and say, who is our community? Who are we trying to support? Because now we have our live community members, live audience community members. They've moved on to film work now. Some of them went into architectural fixed install. Where are they now operating in these spaces, and what is our common thread if we've been shot out into the four winds? And so that's when we came up with the concept of live pixel people. We either produce pixels in front of live audience, or we generate them live in real time for installation or virtual production. So we're the home of live pixel people. And I think through that banner, we can bring together the artists, designers, engineers, technologists, producers, and operators that use these tools to achieve these visions.
And I believe you're bringing them together here in Barcelona. Can you tell me a bit about your program at ISE 2025?
Yes. Well, it's a we've been given the opportunity to put together quite a large program. I have 30 speakers here. Yes. So we're doing 8 different presentations across Thursday and Friday. We have 2 tours planned, 2 different tours led by Sam Phoenix and Matthew Ward, where we're trying to short circuit or create a quick learning opportunity for people who really see themselves in that AV banner and help them understand more creative entertainment technologies through that video lens. And then finally, we have our meetups because we are community based. So we have a meetup scheduled at the Avixa Exchange Live stage Friday afternoon that's open to the public. We're also hosting a community meetup in El Poblano during the Loom Festival, Loom Barcelona, so that we can further bridge into those creative technology communities that produce the Lighting Festival.
Well, thank you very much for telling me all about that. You've got so much going on. You know, the new career, building on what you have. You know, you've got the books, the community that you founded, and you know, this big program of events at ISE. So thank you very much for joining us and telling us about that.
Yes, I appreciate having an opportunity to talk with you about it. Thank you.